1985 was a great year for music in the UK and also a great year for gaming. It's also the year Namco brought us Motos running on the Super Pac-Man hardware, but with a video system like that used in Mappy, Dig Dug 2 and others. In this game you take control of the Motos, a bumper car whose goal it is to force enemies over the edge of the playfield by bumping up against them. However, all the enemies are capable of doing the exact same thing to Motos. To help Motos, there are power parts and jump parts, which can be collected during the 62 rounds. These give Motos extra bumping power and the ability to jump over gaps in the playfield. While the concept of Motos is very simple, it is a strangely addictive and fun game. If you've never played this before, I suggest booting it up in MAME. You'll be pleasantly surprised. The first port of Motos we're going to take a look at is the ZX Spectrum port. It came in both 48K and 128K versions, both being identical apart from the 128K version featuring music. Sadly, the 128K version kept crashing during gameplay, so we are looking at the 48K version minus the music. As you can see, this ZX Spectrum port keeps the look of the arcade game and all of its powered up screens. It also plays very much like the arcade game. It's an excellent port all round, if not a tad easier than the arcade original. Well, what would you know, the Amstrad CPC version is also pretty good, and not just a cheap ZX Spectrum port. What we have here is a very colourful experience with some pretty good audio to accompany the bright visuals. The gameplay is a little slow, but once you've been playing it for a few minutes, you'll hardly notice the slower pace. With the Speccy and Amstrad both getting good ports, we'd expect the Commodore 64 to also have a good port, and first impressions are good. It's not until you start playing the game do you realise that the speed at which the game runs is based upon how many enemies are on screen. This really screws with the gameplay, making some stages too fast and others being too slow, until you've cleared off a number of enemies, which then has the stage running too fast. Some optimization could have gone a long way with this port. Temper, the kings of classic arcade ports to the X68000, were behind this, and as to be expected, it's arcade perfect. No wait, it's better than arcade perfect, because not only do we get the choice of the original soundtrack, we also get an arranged soundtrack, plus you can choose what plays those back. I'm going with the internal FM sound, however, Roland M1 and M32 are also available options. And finally, let's finish up with the PlayStation port found on Namco Museum Encore. This version, unlike many of the other Namco compilation discs, isn't an emulation of the arcade ROM, even though it tries to look like it is. This becomes apparent with a few subtle differences, such as the speed at which projectiles hit the title screen, to the fact that if you and the final enemy both fall off the stage together, you lose a life, or worse still, game over. The arcade version allows you to live, as do all of the other ports. And let's take a look at all those versions of Motos running side by side.